What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man. Yes, I'm back at it again, and this is Fire Force Episode 9 discussion slash review. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It was too good, and I can't think of any other words that would make it be better, so I'm just going to leave it at that because it was super fantastic, and it was so wonderful, man. Every moment was just glorious. From start to finish, and in the start they didn't show anything but what happened last week, and like it was just in this a longer and extended version of the full fight from last week, and then it jumps into this week's episode where it picks up with the fight. Oh, it was too good. It was too good. Let's get in this episode, man, because we got some stuff that I want to discuss as well as review the episode. Yeah, so it picked up right after last week's episode, and then it dives right into a full-fledged fight between Shinra and Reika, and let's be real, man, the animation was godlike. Let's just be real about that. Some moments and scenes, especially with the fighting and where they were maneuvering around, it got a little hectic, but the whole fight itself was animated so well. I don't care about those one or two scenes that was a little off, but it doesn't matter because everything else was absolutely glorious, man. So those one or two scenes it was just a little off, I don't mind that because everything else was top. Look at that. You can't even see where I'm pointing because that's how high it was. Yeah, everything, man. We got to see Reika's abilities and see Shinra put in work, and like I said with Shinra fighting Captain Hibana, I love the fact that they're putting Shinra up there fighting these guys, but like, and he's beating them, but he's not like just demolishing them like any other main character would be in an anime or anything like that. He's actually fighting these people and he's getting the fight done, but at the same time, like, he's not really defeating these people. They pretty much stop themselves, or they kind of come to a realization, or someone stops them, like what happened this episode with Karim. So that's what I love about Fire Force, man. It does a good job of making the main character have these fights which are epic and wonderful, but at the same time they don't just make him super powerful where he defeats these people that have been firefighters or other people for a long time. Like they've been firefighters for a long time, so they don't just let him come in and demolish these people even though he's the MC. They let him actually fight these people and struggle, and the people either come to a realization that what they were doing is wrong, or someone else comes in with the abilities and powers to stop them. And I love that, but I love the fact that Shinra can hold his own. That is absolutely fantastic, and we got to see Shinra actually maneuver around and do epicness this episode, man. The whole fight scene where he was jumping and flying around the whole building and everything, the whole time where he was putting hands to Reika, and even when Reika was putting hands to Shinra, man, because he was doing damage too. Power! He was going ham, man. I love his abilities and his moves, and I love the scene. It's later on in the fight, but I love the scene where he burned off his whole arm. I mean, he burned off his sleeves and everything from his outfit, and his whole arms were glowing with the color of fire and intensity and heat and stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. The color scheme in this episode was on point. So every time there was color with fire and everything, I could see it. It was so visually animated fantastically. The colors were actually highlighted so well, and then the definition of the characters within the fight when we actually had the fight between Reika and Shinra were absolutely fantastic, and I love the whole fight scene itself. Like every time I'll tell you, the only thing that made me upset about this whole episode, man, was when we saw, I know it's her gimmick and her shtick, but it was just so annoying, man. I hate it so much. And that is the what is her name? Tamaki's lucky lustery, or whatever it is, like where everyone just happens to end up groping her or something. It's funny every now and then, but like they don't have to put it in every episode that she's in. And let's be real, if she dressed more conservative, she wouldn't have this problem, man. You don't see Maki coming out there having these kind of problems. But let's get on with the episode, because I'm just gonna dwell on that if I don't. So yeah, man, and I love the fact it showed how real it was when she ended up asking Shinra, please defeat Reika son. So well, Lieutenant Reika, and I understand that because she was bamboozled too, man. He tricked her, and having that happen, it kind of affected her mentally a little bit. So I can understand her, just feeling really vulnerable and wanting Shinra to, just to stop him because he's hurting these kids and innocent kids. Yeah, and the fight was just epic, man. I'm gonna keep dwelling on that because it was absolutely boss. And yeah, I could spend a whole video itself just talking about the fight. But then we have the fight coming to a conclusion, and we have Shinra pretty much stopping him the whole time, and Lieutenant Reika is just vomiting blood. But in all of this madness and everything, we learned something. We learned that they can get because Shinra, this happened to Shinra, that they can get overheated if they use their powers and their abilities too much, and so much that they absorb all of the oxygen in their body, and that's where their flames come from, and that's how their flames are produced. And if they use that too much, they can get overheated. That is nice. I love that. So at the same time, they can't just run around and be super strong, because there's a limit to how much, if they continue to use their abilities, they can overheat. That is good, and they didn't mention that at all in the previous episode. So I love getting that information now when we had a fight, because Shinra had to fly there to the building, and he's fought ever since he's arrived in the building. So I love that, how they made that a thing. I love that, and the fact that Shinra told Lieutenant Reika when he was winding up his arms that if you keep using your powers like that, you're gonna overheat, and you could end up being burnt by your own flames. That is something so deep. That's legit boss status, man. I love that from Fire Force and the creator, man. That is absolutely wonderful to put that in there, so they won't just be top tier characters, man, like where, well, they can produce fires and there's no end for it. So this makes it, you get what I'm saying? It makes it feel like, okay, there's a gap there, you know what I'm saying? Like now, that's something they can look forward to master, to where they don't have to overheat. It takes longer for them to overheat. That's my thing. What else, man? Oh, we also learned that for some reason, the reason why Lieutenant Reika was doing this and why other people are doing this. Someone named the Evangelist. And from this episode, man, we got a lot of information as well. I wanted to talk about the fight, but there was a lot of information in this episode as well, because we got the fact that we learned about the Evangelist. We learned that there's a cult running around turning people to infernals and kidnapping the kids that don't become infernals. It's so much, man. There's so much going on. We learned that possibly this is what happened to Shinra's brother, and that they've been taking kids from all over. And this is so deep, man. It's getting so heavy. And oh man, you guys just don't understand. I mean, you understand, but like you get it. This is just that heavy. So then we learned also, I'm pointing like you can see over there. We also learned that Karum's power is absolutely fantastic, man. But we also learned that the bugs react different to people. I'm guessing that gives off a different energy or feeling in their flames, because we saw the bug react differently towards Shinra's flames. That was very nice too. But then we also saw like a miniature flashback. I'm skipping all over the place, but we saw a miniature flashback with Karum, the other guy in Reika. I'm gonna learn his name eventually, but we saw that, and where you could tell they were good friends, man. And this is so hard for them to accept that Reika's actually lost his mind. But then we see what I really wanted to discuss. Who are these people? Who? They killed Reika. I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to answer for what he's done and everything. I didn't want him to die. Then we see the other dude that seems like a very cool character, and he got caught and lost an arm. There's so much going on in this one episode, and you'd think they'd focus mainly and solely on the fight. No, that wasn't the point. They focused on everything, including the fight. Man, there was so much information in this episode that if you didn't pay attention, you were gonna miss something, man. But that's pretty much all that happened in this episode. And please, I don't want to be spoiled as to what's the whole going on, but if you're a manga reader and you see my video, comment down below and let me know who are these guys. I don't want to look it up and get spoiled on anything. Just tell me their names. That's all I need. I don't need any information about them. Just tell me their names, because this episode made me want to read the manga, man. This is your boy Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, and Fire Force brings the heat. Peace out, man.